men of all races and creeds might gather before him. On this Sunday of January 11th, the voice of the organ speaks once again its sacred invitation for one and all to gather in your radio chapel. From your radio chapel, KEX again invites you to draw closer to Him who would have all men live as brothers. For it is in the cause of world brotherhood that KEX has invited all faiths, Protestant, Catholic, and Jewish, to declare in song and in spoken word their faith in a world that knows only one God. And so as we gather together on this Sunday morning, let us truly come as brothers, worshiping our one, all-caring, all-loving God. Conducting the service in your radio chapel this morning is Dr. Richard Steiner of the First Unitarian Church, and our choir is under the direction of Mrs. Carolyn H. Harrington and is from the Catlin School. As we begin the service, Paul Parse at the organ plays for you At Vespers. Mrs. Harrington directs the Catlin School Choir in two Bach compositions. First, Break Forth, O Beauteous Heavenly Light, then Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. Featured in the second selection will be a violin obbligato played by Mary Allison. And now the choir sings for you a lovely melody from the oratorio Elijah. Lift thine eyes.
Lift thine eyes, oh, lift thine eyes to the
As the music is hushed, the word is spoken. Dr. Richard Steiner.
Someone has said that it is not so much what life brings to us in her hands as what we bring to life in our spirit that makes the difference between people. Paul may have had this truth in his mind when he wrote in the book of Romans, "We know to them that love God, all things work together for good." The crucial part of that phrase lies in its statement that it is to them that love God that all things work together for good. For all things by themselves do not work together for good, and there is no sense in pretending that they do. But Paul did not omit the first part. He did not omit it because he had a very real sense of the drama of life, and he knew that by our interior attitudes we gain exterior results. What life does to us does not determine the consequence. It is simply the instigating factor. The consequence of what life does to us is the direct result of what there is within us. Millions of people have asked themselves the question, is life worth living? Many people who ask that question think that they are asking it about something cosmic in scope, having to do with the purposes of God. But as a matter of fact, that question is not cosmic at all. It's a very personal question having to do with the inside attitude of the questioner. No one could by any stretch of the imagination ask the question, is life worth living, if he found that life was in any way dramatic. For if the essence of a dramatic situation is the presence of conflict, the only reason why anyone should be interested in that conflict is the desire to know how it is resolved. Any dramatist who would pose a dramatic problem and before the final curtain failed to arrive at a solution to the problem would have his audience jeering him as a cheat and demanding their money back at the box office. It is the basic fact that a solution to a dramatic human problem is possible that holds the spectators in their seats up to the final curtain. If a person is bored and wants to leave before the final curtain, it simply means that the dramatist has utterly and completely failed in presenting the problem so that the individual may identify himself with it. Basic to an affirmative answer to the question, is life worth living, is the conclusion that men and women possess real freedom to control their lives. Determinism and free will, fate and freedom have been endlessly debated, but the time comes in every individual experience and in the social life of our time when that question goes far beyond any theoretical debate into a practical urgency. That time is on us now. All things are happening to some of us, and it does make a difference whether we think of ourselves as free, creative personalities who can make all things work together for good, or as mere victims of fate. I'm not interested this morning in any theoretical debate between determinism and freedom.